Uncharted has been compared to Tomb Raider ever since the first Uncharted game came out. Nathan Drake's adventures took a lot of inspiration out of the Tomb Raider games and arguably perfected the genre, if you may call it that. In turn, the more recent Tomb Raider games have been compared with the Uncharted games. It's true, both are quite similar but definitely have their own flavor. Still, after finishing Uncharted Lost Legacy, I think it's the best Tomb Raider game ever made. In another video I already explained why it also might be the best Uncharted game. This game made me think a lot about the old Tomb Raider games. It really felt like Naughty Dog was paying homage to these games. It somehow felt they stole a lot of elements of the first 3 Tomb Raider games, and I mean that in a positive way. I believe developers should copy other games to improve a genre. I mean, The Lost Legacy is proof of that. During the entire game I felt nostalgic, especially about Tomb Raider 3. The comparison is therefore mainly valid for the older Tomb Raider games. Let me elaborate with a few examples. The obvious comparison between the two franchises this time around is the female lead. Chloe replaces Nathan as main protagonist and does this very effectively, although Chloe is not just a random female lead. She actually looks like Lara Croft a lot, and her voice could pass as Lara Croft as well, maybe with a little more English accent then. But still, sometimes I confused Chloe with Lara Croft in my head because of the character resemblances. Chloe is also just as badass as Lara, and they're both very independent, strong-willed women with the same amount of stubbornness and lust for adventure. The open-ended level design is another example of how the games compare. Naughty Dog made an effort to make the levels in The Lost Legacy bigger and adding more objectives that can be completed in any given order. The puzzle elements of the game felt more in line with the old Tomb Raider games, since these games had big levels to explore as well, with sometimes necessary backtracking to proceed. The Lost Legacy takes place in India and the majority of the game in the Indian jungle. A few levels in Tomb Raider 3 also took place in the Indian jungle. Apart from being a great location for games in general, this really took me back to when I was young playing Tomb Raider 3. Naughty Dog must have known that the Indian jungle was featured in TR3 as well. Regardless, The Lost Legacy really nailed the environment and the sense of exploring in this region. Lara and Chloe both used a jeep as transportation to navigate through the jungle now and then. This can't be a coincidence anymore. The final straw that made me think I'm playing Tomb Raider were the swimming sections. For some reason I always associated swimming underwater in games with Tomb Raider, and now there was a perfect reason for that. Don't get me wrong, I think the latest Tomb Raider games are good games, but Uncharted does a little bit more that makes gaming close to perfection. Therefore, I think The Lost Legacy is the best Tomb Raider game.